could go to our seats. Testing, testing, testing. Testing. Again, if we can be seated. Well, we're going to get started in just about a minute. Well, welcome all this evening. We need to get started. We have a fairly extensive program, and we want to get going, including our meal, etc. So if we could get started at this point. Welcome to the 180th anniversary of Central. Certainly. It's also the 180th anniversary of the city of Manchester. It's our 10th Hall of Fame banquet. We began, as I'll tell you later, around 1990, and we've had 10 banquets of this nature since. And coming as I did from a third generation Central family, I've had my parents, my dad in 1929, I obviously in the 60s, my wife, my kids, my siblings, all certainly are Central High people. And I know it means a lot to all of us, as it does to you. I'm going to start. We have 3 proclamations, and I'm certainly not going to read them all. We did get one from Maura Healey, the governor of Massachusetts, which I won't read. One of our inductees, one of the Cox brothers, was governor of Massachusetts after Calvin Coolidge around 1900. So she sent that. The governor, Kelly Ayotte, sent one. And the mayor, unfortunately, can't be here, but he did send a proclamation, which I will read. Office of the Mayor, proclamation. Whereas Manchester High School Central, New Hampshire's oldest public high school, is celebrating its 180th anniversary. Whereas Central's well-earned reputation for excellence for nearly 200 years. Whereas the celebration of Central's birthday coincides with the induction of 16 esteemed Central graduates into the Hall of Fame, and with special recognition of Selma McCash Hoff's nearly lifetime commitment to Central. Whereas the inductees embody the highest qualities of citizenship, achievement, arts, law, athletics, education, and many other fields. Whereas they have left an indelible mark on the city of Manchester, the state, and their community. Whereas as of today, Dan Arvanitis, Christiana Bekulis, Tara Murphy Beardsley, Bob Champagne, Jane Trunsolito Clayton, the Cox brothers, Jen Duval, Bert Kalinsky, Maurice McDonald, Mark Willett, Arthur Pappas, Peter Spiro, and James Ten will be valued members. I, Jay Ruiz, by the power invested as the Mayor of Manchester, do hereby proclaim May 8th, 2026 to be Central Hall of Fame Day in New Hampshire. So, starting with that, I think we all know that Central's been a very special place to all of us. It's funny though when I hear people sometimes say, well, you know, it's not the same, it's different. And I always say, well, of course it's different. Manchester's different, our country is different. The diversity at Central is something you can't really put a price on. Doug Winters, who we inducted maybe 10 years ago, who was the vice president of Blue Cross, I remember that night he said to me, he said, you know, Murph, if it wasn't for the diversity at Central, I would never have been as successful as I am. So I think rather than recoiling from it, I think the diversity is such a positive. Our Hall of Fame began in the early 90s when Dr. Chris Kias, who was such a great guy and such a Central person, and I decided that Central should have its own established Hall of Fame. As some of you know, and as of tonight, 2 of the inductees are already in, Manchester has an athletic Hall of Fame, the Queen City Hall of Fame, but for some reason Central did not have its own established Hall of Fame. So we looked into a number of large schools, Nashua, Lowell, etc., and saw how they did their Hall of Fame. And we came to a couple of conclusions and a couple of caveats that we wanted ours to be a little bit different. First of all, we decided it would be every 5 years. We didn't want to continue to, you know, I hate to say water it down, but by having 15 people every year, eventually your candidates become, let's say, not quite as the same as the early candidates. The second thing we decided was there were so many people from Central who had been successful in so many walks of life that we wanted it to not just be an athletic Hall of Fame. So as of now, it is a Hall of Fame There's no quota of athletes, non-athletes. In fact, this year's inductees, there's only 2 or 3 pure athletes. The other thing, we have a committee, obviously, that consists of Jane Clayton, Charlene Hertz, Selma Nakashhoff, David Scannell, and Andrea Elliott. We tend to look at 3 main criteria when we look at candidates in the Hall of Fame. And in that realm, we need input from people like yourself. If you know of somebody in the program, most of our emails are there. So if you know of someone you feel in the future would be a great candidate, please send his name, and we can certainly do that research. We look at what someone obviously did at Central, be it athletics or in the community or in school. We look at what they did following that, often in college when it comes to athletics or it comes to arts, business, medicine, you name it. And then we also look at what they did to give back to community, whether it's here, whether it's Central, whether it's Manchester, or wherever it may be. We have about 120 current members in our Hall of Fame, and we also have we have some non-members that we have now decided to place, because one of our criteria is that you have to have graduated from Central. This obviously doesn't allow some coaches, teachers, etc., who have left their mark, but were not graduates. So we do have a Lifetime Achievement Award, which you'll hear about later. Our Hall of Fame, as you can see from our banner over there, and you can see in your program, is replete with iconic athletes: Don Surratt, Bo Dixon, Billy Pappas, Donnie Masick, all pro linemen. It's replete with coaches: Stanley Spiro, Joe O'Neill, Ryan Day, to name just a few. We have Dr. Samuel Katz, who invented the measles vaccine. It's kind of a timely thing nowadays. And we have authors. We have Grace Metalius, who of course wrote Peyton Place. We have inventors, if you will, or company starters: Charles Revson, who started Revlon. And also we have educators such as James Friedman, who was the president of Dartmouth College. So it's a pretty tremendous array of people if you want to take a peek at it sometime. But other than that, we're going to just get moving on here. And I think at this point, Charlene Kurtz is going to come up with a little bit of a special event for you. Charlene? Yeah.
Good evening. As I drove home from our final planning meeting Monday night, I couldn't help but think how many things have come to play in my life because I went to Central High School. It really is extraordinary. And for so many of us in this room, the same holds true. Tonight, and often in our lives, we are reminded of the power of a quality public education. I would like to read a passage from a speech from the city solicitor delivered to all Manchester schools in 1896. Mr. Chairman and friends, old and young, a celebration like this of Manchester's in which the children played no part would be woefully incomplete. From past accomplishments, present conditions, without the prospect of future growth, they lose their luster and their interest. All the previous exercises of this week's celebration have been calculated to recall the achievement and the glories of the past. and to typify the strength and greatness of our city's present development. The gathering of the children, however, is like a benediction. It's the crown of all festivals, for in these young and active figures, and these happy faces, and these intelligent eyes, we may read the promise of better things for Manchester, which are yet to be. They give us hope and assurance of a future which we all are and which we have yet to be. It is my pleasure to introduce Aubrey Goodwin, one of the children, a 4th grade student from Smith Road, to tell you what's in store for us.
Good evening, Central alumni. Welcome to this wonderful evening celebrating amazing honorees from Manchester High School Central. The select chorus of McDonough, Smith, and Webster invite you to be entertained by our beautiful collaboration under the direction of Smith music teacher Cassie Pepler. Thank you, Mrs. Pepler, for instilling your passion for music with all of us. It is so exciting for us to perform for you tonight. The traditions, nostalgia, and love for Central High School makes us thrilled to know what is in store for all of us in the years to come. Tonight, as we celebrate the past with Central High School, let's listen to the sounds of the future. Enjoy!
Well, that was certainly special, and that was all on Charlene. So I'd like to ask David to come up.
Okay. I'm going first. Yeah. I just thought the kids were so great. That's the future of Central High School right there. A few of us would like to share some amazing stories we had with Mrs. Nakash. Chris Pelletier, oops, sorry, feedback. Chris Pelletier, Mary Ten, Doug Winters, and myself are so influenced by Mrs. Nakash, we too are Boston College alumni. Go Eagles! When I was a freshman at Syracuse in a very large creative writing class, the first assignment I was called upon by my professor, and he said, "Where did you go to high school?" With absolute pride, I said, "Central High School, Manchester, New Hampshire." And his response was, Selma Nakash, I bet. To this day, I'm in awe of Mrs. Nakash. At a school known for journalism, a professor recognized the craft of a legend. I take no credit. I simply followed her lead. Unbeknownst to me, two former students who had Mrs. Nakash also had this professor. Her remarkable influence spans across this country and this globe. The professor concluded, "You may need a proofreader, but your writing is spot on." I am beyond grateful for Selma championing my journey as an educator in the Manchester School District. I love you. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me.
So, after Ms. Nakash graduated from the University of New Hampshire, she earned her master's degree from Boston College. We're a little biased here tonight. And then she began a career at Central that spanned 45 years. Including more than 20 years as a department chair. For nearly a half a century, Ms. Nakash established herself as one of Central's historically great teachers and as a role model for thousands of students, hundreds of colleagues who benefited from her presence and her example. It is no exaggeration to say that her name is mentioned more than any other when someone asks, "Who was your favorite teacher at Central?" Moreover, students and graduates who cite Selma as a favorite are quick to add that she earned a permanent place in our hearts and in our minds because she consistently demanded excellence through an emphasis on high standards while creating a classroom atmosphere that was very humane and downright fun. Congratulations, Selma.
Equally as impressive is the vivid nature of the memories from her class that students retain decades after they were graduated. Their anecdotes of remarkable moments are peppered with details, with specifics about specific lines of poetry, memories of witty asides, and even reminiscences of what she was wearing on a particular day in a specific class. And I have to say, I don't think you ever wore the same pair of shoes or the same outfit. Their memories are not expressed in blurred generalities. They are painted in vivid pastels that are untouched by time because of the profound impression she made in their lives. Thank you so much, Selma. We love you.
Selma was a role model to us, not only in proving that one can never have too many shoes, but also in showing us what it means to really be a member of a community. Selma has devoted herself to Manchester and to the state of New Hampshire, to her world and to our world throughout her life. And she has been part of so many organizations that keep the world turning. Organizations like the Visiting Nurses, organizations like the First Congregational Church, organizations like the Elliott Hospital. And she's been assisted and aided by her true companion, Paul, who has... We remember when you first came into the picture, Paul, and we were skeptical. But Paul has the same orientation to serving the larger community, and in recent weeks, I was tending to my dad, who was at the Elliott, and it gave me, I saw photos of Paul and Selma up on the wall. They were honored for their service to the Elliott, and when I saw them, I felt at home, and I thought everything is going to be okay. And that work continues. Selma continues to work with the Manchester Historical Association, and not least with the Central Pride Foundation. Thank you, Selma.
Thanks, Doug. Many of Selma's students will surely remember her passion for Flaubert's Madame Bovary and the book's heroine, Emma. Now, I teach high school English, and I am not sure that I would quote with the same passion that she did some of the quotations from that book. Eros, Eros. But we won't go into that now. That's for after. All right. Emma, whose lifelong quest for beauty and contentment makes her one of literature's most indelible characters. What he wrote of his heroine could easily be written of our heroine, of our story, Ms. Nakash, and the lasting impression she has left on her students, her colleagues, and her school. She possessed that indefinable beauty that comes from happiness, enthusiasm, and success, a beauty that is nothing more or less than the harmony of temperament and circumstances. And so we honor you with this award tonight. So everyone should raise a glass, oh, it rhymes, to Ms. Nakash.
I think I'm supposed to say something, and I think my students would also say I'm never at a loss for words, but I have to admit this is humbling. This is beyond reality. This is something that I'm not even sure how I can express the pride and the honor that I have had working at this amazing institution in this city to uplift in some small way public education. It is the leadership of Central, dating back to Bill Burns and continuing on today, were amazing. They nurtured young teachers such as I, and through those years, the work that we did in schools, in our classrooms, in our community, is because we were supported so well by these wonderful administrators. So I thank them, past and present. My colleagues at Central High School, they're just amazing. This award is special to me, certainly, but it really belongs to every educator who every single day from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night walks into that classroom, does the work, and champions every single student appearing before them. This award truly does belong to you. The BLILs, who, that's a weird acronym, but department heads, whatever. We did a lot of work, and Central and the Manchester community benefited. My colleagues in the English department, I really have to thank you. You did a lot of work when you didn't really want to do it, and I know that. Every time there was a new initiative in the district, I would call it whiplash. We'd start on something and work doggedly to make certain that our students benefited, and then in a couple of years it was another thing and another thing and another thing, and they did it. And thank you so much, and thank you for continuing a wonderful tradition in the English department and throughout Central.
We love you, Selma.
I know that we all appreciate the fact that public education is being assaulted left and right, and I'm not going to go into this diatribe about why and where and when, but I would like to call out all of the wonderful graduates of Central High School, past, present, and I'm sure into the future. The amazing work that you have done in a myriad of fields: education, medicine, politics, the same kind, I would say. All of it, the law, business, philanthropy, science. These are young men and women who were nurtured at Central, who did their primary work there. And why? Because of teachers. That's all of you. And I know that over the years, any teacher has heard things like, how can you do that? How can you teach? How can you do it at Central? It's Center City, isn't it awful? What's your secret? Why do you? I don't think it's a secret, but it's dogged. I did rely on 3 R's. First of all, respect. I think that's paramount in any profession, but certainly in the classroom, because we know we have some recalcitrant students, the ones who don't want to do any work, and yet they come every single day. And why is that? Because they know that Central, the classrooms afford them a space, and they could learn, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. And there's that young man in the back of the class who comes every single day, does no work. And yet, years later, I encounter his mother who says, that was his favorite class. Could have fooled me. Anyway, respect is essential, and sometimes it's difficult. And we know that, but we do it anyway. Responsibility. Young people need to be invested in their education, as we need to be invested in their individual growth as well. And sometimes, again, that's a difficult thing. I used to say that the word educator comes from Latin roots. And what does it mean? to draw forth, to lead forth. Our role as an educator is just to do that. It's not to lecture and have them spew back words. That doesn't mean anything. Their experience needs to be authentic. It needs to be able to be applied to their greater community. And I hope I've done that a little bit. And finally, I would say that rigor is important. And I heard today that more than one attendee here, I won't name your names, oh, I wouldn't take your class because it was so hard. And honestly, maybe it's okay that they think it's so difficult when it really wasn't. We're the educators in the classroom. It's our job to establish the parameters, but it's also the job of kids to push those parameters. We allow them to do that, and we nurture them as they do. And I will also say that a student very recently, Russell, told me that whatever I had to say today should be very nutritious. I found that to be a very interesting word choice. And so here's my take on nutrition. I didn't make students memorize, you know that, right? No, okay. David, after class, I could tell stories, you know that. One of my favorite, and one quotation that I think a lot of them came to realize, is from the Greek lyric poet Simonides in a class that was called World Literature. It was kind of a survey. The food you feed your soul must be supreme. I love that because it's a food analogy, and everybody loves food. And we all love the brownies and the ice cream from the Puritan and all of that, but that's not what we subsist on. Our experiences need to be meaningful in order that we can grow. And I have to tell you that my nearly 5 decades at Central High School have fed my soul beyond belief. I will never starve because of the people, the administrators, the teachers, the colleagues, and most of all, these wonderful, wonderful students who continue to learn and to grow and to contribute to their greater society. I am humbled beyond belief. Thank you all.
I'm certainly glad I spoke before Selma. So the buffet is going to be served now. They will be coming to tables and letting you know when it's your turn to go up. It's a great buffet, so enjoy the food. We'll return, obviously, for the inductees. Thanks. Okay, if we could please sit, we're going to start with our ceremony. Okay, yeah, I mean, you can continue getting desserts if you'd like, but we're going to start our ceremony. So I'm going to ask Central Principal Deb Ruki to come up and say a few words and begin our induction ceremony. Deb.
Oh, you lucky people. First and foremost, before I even start the welcome, how about our students performing? Unbelievable. Our jazz band, as you guys walked in, our jazz band is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And our elementary students and the teachers that help develop these students and their skill set, our teachers for the jazz band, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Like, talk about filling your heart up. It wants to explode when I watch greatness. And they're our future students. They're our future. So thank you so much to the teachers that arranged that and teach our students, and for how awesome that was for our group. I appreciate it. So good evening, family and friends and inductees, and welcome to this year's Central High School Hall of Fame inductions. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Deb Ruki, and I'm the very proud principal of Central High School. Thank you. It's truly an honor to stand before you tonight and be part of something so meaningful. Central is more than just a school. It's a community that's rich in tradition, pride, and excellence. As the oldest public high school in the state of New Hampshire, and as we celebrate our 180th birthday this year, we are reminded of the incredible legacy of previous inductees, as well as those who are seated before us this evening. For generations, Central High School has provided students with remarkable opportunities to learn, grow, and lead. It's shaped their lives, inspired futures, and built a community that extends far beyond graduation day. Many of those who have made extraordinary contributions to our world and who continue to give back to the Central community are right here in this room tonight. Thank you. This is what makes this evening so special. Tonight we celebrate excellence, dedication, and the lasting impact of those who proudly call Central home. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this year's Hall of Fame inductions and congratulate our inductees for helping us to continue to honor the spirit and tradition of Central High School. Thank you. Now I have the honor that probably many people are jealous of. So it's truly an honor to stand here tonight and have the privilege of inducting Jane Trunsolito Clayton into the Central High School Hall of Fame. You'll hear it again in my speech, rally, rally. You will. So I say, Jane, Jane, Jane. Where to begin? So many stories, so little time. Family first, family first. Anyone who knows Jane knows how deeply she loves her family. Jane Trunsolito, now Jane Clayton, is one of 5 children born to the late Ray and Barbara Trunsolito. She has 4 brothers, Jimmy, Scott, and Steve, who are with us tonight, and Johnny, who's with us in spirit. Jane's mother and 4 brothers are also Central alum. Yep. It goes deep. It goes deep. Her father happened to be a Jersey boy who met his wife at an event in Hanover, New Hampshire, as Barbara went to the Dartmouth Hitchcock Nursing School while Ray attended Dartmouth College. And so the story begins. As a student, Jane was involved in countless activities. She was the cheerleading captain. That's right. A member of student council, a class officer, a member of the, this shouldn't shock anybody. This should not shock anybody if you know her now. This shouldn't surprise anybody. A member of the Little Green. She was on the Spirit Club, and she was involved in Masters. Jane fully embraced everything Central had to offer. Her commitment to school spirit, leadership, and community has never left her. As an alumni, Jane continues to dedicate her time to our community. She was formerly a member of the Webster House Board of Directors and Safe Sports NHMI. She volunteers at the Agunquit Playhouse with all her spare time. She's currently an active member of the Central Pride Foundation and the Central Hall of Fame Committee, as well as she serves as a member at the Palace Theater on the Palace Theater Advisory Board, all of which support our Central students. Jane graduated from Central High School in 1974. That's right. She went on to the University of New Hampshire, earning a degree in physical education, then immediately returned home to continue giving back to the school that helped shape her. Jane was hired as a physical education teacher at Central, where she remained for the next 10 years. Soon thereafter, Jane started a family with Michael and had 2 children, Missy and Max. That's right, Missy's here tonight. Max can't be with us because he has some really big Broadway, you know when you're on Broadway. They happened to be entering Smith Road Elementary School at the time, which also coincided with budget constraints and employees being moved around based on what we needed to do. And so Jane had the opportunity to teach at the school her children were attending, making the demanding parent schedule a little more accommodating. Jane taught at Smith Road for the next 12 years and then had the opportunity to return to her alma mater as a PE teacher and athletic coordinator. She fulfilled this role for the next 12 years. Yeah, I'm only halfway done. But that's good, you can do it. So a 1-year interim assistant principal position opened up at Central and Jane got the nod. But after the initial year, the position was open for all to apply. At that time, I was at West High School as an assistant principal. And I had, at that time, requested a transfer for my own personal reasons, and because of seniority, that transfer was granted to me. Yep, boo. Oh, trust me, there were plenty of boos. Therefore, plenty of booze. No, anyway, so that was that was granted to me, meaning that it bumped Jane from this position. Now, I did call Jane ahead of time to let her know that I was putting in for a transfer, and that I knew it had to be a gut punch. But for my own personal reasons, I had to do this, but I had to be up front with Jane.
I still love you, Dad.
I know, and this is what I'm getting to. Don't steal my thunder, Jane. Don't steal my thunder. This is what I'm getting to. So, and now I know more about Jane, and I really know more about Jane. Like, I was at West. I wasn't at Central. This is something that a lot of people don't get to experience. The true community and what Central Pride really means, and how deep and how rich it is. It's for real. Central Pride is for real. And I'm not saying West High School is not, because I was very proud of my time there. Great people. But my point is, although Jane may have been hurt. True to form, she was nothing but a class act. She told me she understood. Imagine being on the other end of that phone call and realizing this is all you want to do. You just want to be where you belong, right? And then some yahoo's calling you saying, hey, by the way, I put this in, but Jane, this is true to character. This is Jane Clayton, okay? She was nothing but a class act. She told me she understood, even if it hurt her. And she might have said many other things after that, but to me, she said she understood and told me that I would love Central and not to worry about her, like her hurt feelings or whatever. She handled it with absolute grace. Jane then went to Hillside for the next 2.5 years. She was an assistant principal there until another opening came along. And thankfully, Jane became an assistant principal at Central, where we had the opportunity to work side by side for several years. Go ahead, now you can clap. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe O'Neill, for kicking rocks. Right? Anyway, so in 2021, I believe it was 2021, maybe 2022, but it's around there. The principal position opened up at Central. And this was right around the time Jane was preparing to wrap it up and retire. So she once again showed exactly who she is. She encouraged me to apply. I had people asking me or whatever, but Jane really encouraged me to apply. And I was hesitant. I wanted to, I absolutely wanted to, but you second guess yourself sometimes and you go like, am I really ready? Is it my time right now? Am I prepared or whatever? And I really wanted it, but I wasn't sure if I was ready. And Jane looked right at me and she told me I was ready. And she believed in me before I truly believed in myself. She then made me a promise and she said, if you apply and you get the job, I promise I will not retire this year and I'll stay an additional year. Who does that? Who in the world does that wacko? The wacko. You have to, like, if you're not fully committed to your school, she wanted to make sure that everything was in good hands. I had the support I needed. Central was in great, good hands. And she cared that much about it to put off her retirement for an additional year. So she made the promise, and if I got the job, she'd stay one additional year just to make sure I had the support I needed, and she did exactly that. She held true to her word. That is Jane Clayton. Yep. She's a woman of her word. She puts people first. She puts Central first. She's welcoming, inclusive, and believes the more the merrier. She's like Julie from The Love Boat, always ready for fun and shenanigans, and some kind of costume has to be involved. She's Switzerland, always remaining neutral and objective, and never speaking an ill word about anyone. She will not. She's that kind. She's deeply connected to family, fiercely loyal, and often heard saying, rally, rally, to get everyone going. Jane has had the underlying support of those who love her deeply, including her better half, Jen, who's been by her side for close to 20 years. Yep. She's developed relationships with an insurmountable amount of people and holds many of them so close to her heart. Jane has an amazing way about her that makes everyone who comes in contact with her feel important and appreciated. She's very well known throughout the city for all of the reasons I've discussed already. And if you've had the pleasure of being in public with Jane, you know that you have to begin your transition to exit if you're out with her about 45 minutes prior to the actual time you need to leave, because every single person on the way out of any public establishment knows her and wants to say hello or tell her something. It's truly unbelievable. There's absolutely no moss under Jane's shoes because she's never still long enough for it to ever happen. She's always on the move, always doing, always giving, all things Central, whatever it takes. With that being said, I'm incredibly honored and proud not only to call you my friend and colleague, but to induct you, Jane Clayton, into the Central High School Hall of Fame. Congratulations. And in your own words, Jane, Toulouse, Toulouse.
I'm trying. Dad, I said I wasn't going to cry, but you're killing me. I'd like to thank the Academy. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm at the wrong place. Seriously, though, Deb, thank you. You know I love you. Even though you kicked me to the curb. Yeah. And thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for this amazing honor. It's like most committees I'm on, I had no idea that I was even being inducted. I had no idea. I don't know how they slipped it past me, but they did a heck of a job. So thank you to the committee. You know, this could have gone either way. Could have been Hall of Shame, Hall of Fame. But I'm so glad it went this way. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. This is truly special since I know so many of you personally. I gotta say that my heart, I'm blessed to go with my buddy Arthur, who's been, yeah. Arthur is, I've worked at the back room for 30 years, that's why I have 2 knee replacements. And I just can't tell you how the back room is another family, and anyone who's been affiliated with the back room knows what I'm talking about. And it's because of Artie and Milton and Charlie and Plato, and it goes on. And so anyway, I've been blessed to be part of so many different families in my life. I am proud to be joining my son Max, that son of a gun, he beat me to it. He was inducted 4 years ago. And he'll forever hold that over my head, that he was inducted before me, but deservingly so. Congratulations to my dear friend Selma, who is so deserving of the Lifetime Achievement Award for her endless love and dedication to Central High School, both professionally and personally. Selma is, she's one of a kind, and as you all heard, she's just a legend. So congratulations to Selma. It's an incredible honor to stand here tonight as I join so many distinguished alumni in the Central Hall of Fame. I would like at this time, if you are a member of the Hall of Fame, if you would kindly stand and be recognized. There's a lot of you in here, Joey, Ross, Chris, Jerry. There you go, Russ. Oh, Doug Winters. To be included alongside individuals who have represented the school with excellence, character, and dedication is both humbling and deeply meaningful to me. I absolutely loved Central as a student. I could not have had a better 4 years. I loved every minute of it. I loved the faculty. I loved my teachers. I loved all my classmates, my friends. And when I graduated, 52 years ago, my God, what the heck happened there? I never in a million years would think that I would have the opportunity to go back.
there was no opening, but miraculously, an opening came around. I don't know what Principal Bill Burns did, but he kicked somebody to the curb. And I was about to accept a teaching job in Portsmouth when I graduated from UNH, and he called me and he said, Janie, I want you to come in for an interview. And I remember that interview so vividly with Bill. I mean, he did not ask me one thing about PE or health. He was a Dartmouth grad, my dad was a Dartmouth grad, my brother Jimmy had just graduated. He was like, how are the boys? How's your dad? Oh, they're gonna have a good football season this year. But the rest is history, and I have been so incredibly blessed to be a part of Central in the Manchester School District, Smith Road as well, for 42 years. I really, truly feel so blessed to have had that opportunity. And if it wasn't for that phone call, I don't know, my life would have been totally different, who knows? But I think somehow I would have gotten back. And so my 42-year career began, and what a ride it has been. The role as a teacher, athletic coordinator, assistant principal taught me character, taught me discipline, perseverance, and the importance of contributing to something way larger than myself. It is especially meaningful to receive this honor from a school with a proud 180-year history. It's incredible. For nearly 2 centuries, Central High School has shaped generations of students through its commitment to education, character, and community. One of this school's greatest strengths has always been the rich variety of backgrounds, cultures, experiences, perspectives, and school pride that comes together within our halls. We are all so blessed to be part of such a special place. This recognition is not something that I have achieved alone. Whatever success I've achieved has been shaped in large part by the relationships, the teamwork, and shared experience we created together at Central. I owe so much to my amazing parents. I owe so much to my amazing families, the Trunsolitos, the Claytons, the Briggs. I can't tell you enough how much I value all of my incredible friends, my incredibly hardworking and dedicated colleagues, and the thousands of phenomenal students over the 42 years who have helped make this journey meaningful and rewarding. As we all know, it's all about the kids. Central High School is a true family, and I am so blessed to forever be a part of it. I'm especially thinking tonight of my colleagues and dear friends, Abby Jem and Dawn Tibbetts, as I know they're smiling and they're not going to believe one bit of this. Being inducted to this Hall of Fame is not something I view as the finish line. Instead, I see it as a reminder of where I came from and of the responsibility to continue making a positive impact. Thank you for this incredible honor. I am proud to always call Central my home. Thank you. Oh, I forgot one thing. I'm so old that this is the gym suit I wore my freshman year at Central. Then we went to the pinstripe, tighty-whitey, I don't know what the heck it was, but it was major cling. So there you go, that's how old I am.
The next inductee, for anyone who's ever put a T in the ground in New Hampshire, will certainly know him. He has won so many state, mid-am, senior am, city tournaments that he's peerless among the golf community. A gentleman, a great player, and just a really good guy. I'm lucky to announce Dan Arvanitis.
Irv, thanks for those kind words. Means a lot. Boy, you know, I haven't seen a lot of people in like 30, 40 years. I saw them tonight. You know, it's very heartwarming. And Artie, you're not only a Hall of Famer, you serve a great meal as always. Thank you. Okay, so I'm way better off at standing over a 4-foot putt than I am standing in front of a large crowd of people speaking. So I'll try to keep it short and light, and I doubt I'll go past Bobby Rivard's record-setting speech at the Queen City Hall of Fame dinner back in the early 90s. I think it was timed at 45 minutes. Bobby had the gift of gab, no doubt about it. Okay, I'd like to thank the Central Alumni Network Committee for nominating me for this great award. To the inductees here tonight, my congratulations. It's an honor for me to be included with you and all the Hall of Famers at Central High. Many I see here tonight. Let's go next page. So I've had a couple of months to reflect on how did I get to this point. A couple of things kept coming up. One, growing up in a very athletic neighborhood on the east side of Manchester, I remember walking to Western Grammar School every day, rain or shine. My brother Jimmy was a good athlete, still is. I'm amazed at what he still does. 3 houses down from us were the Schubert brothers, Jimmy and Stevie. Jimmy a little older than me, Stevie more my age. And if I was to talk about all their accomplishments, Bobby's record could be threatened, so we're not gonna go there. 4 houses down from them, Mike Huzzy. And Huzz was a big part of great Central basketball teams in the early 70s. Up the road on Amherst Street, bordering the Derryville Golf Course with the Statiris boys, Andy and Billy. Good ball players. In fact, those two were successful in everything they did. So we were and across from Andy and Billy were the Fudgianos, Kenny and Johnny. And, you know, they might have gone to rival Bishop Bradley, but, you know, those guys were great athletes. So when we weren't cutting through Andy and Billy's yard, sneaking on the golf course, playing holes 13 and 16 over and over till darkness fell or we got kicked off, which were quite a few times, we'd be playing football in the back of the 12th green. And Stevie Shub, I know you're not here tonight, but I'm going to act like you are. If any of those missed tackles you always avoided or hits you put on us at times played any part in that phenomenal high school, college, NFL career you had, then those hit and misses were well worth it. Always happy when I was on Shub's team, just a very gifted athlete. And the second thing was my time at Central High. Played 4 years of golf there. Freddie Cienko, the golf coach. Nice man, kept us really in line. The camaraderie, competition was second to none. We had a lot of good players, a lot of good teams, but never won the Class L championship. A couple of close calls, a couple runner-ups, but something was missing. And I often thought, if Stanley Spiro would have been playing then as much as he does now and as well as he does, he could have been that missing part we needed. With his quick wit and humor, we would have had every team 3 down before we even teed it up. But Stanley was busy working on that amazing basketball resume of his. You know, where's this? Hold on. My son Matt couldn't make it here tonight. He's down in Pennsylvania. He's coaching the Southern New Hampshire boys golf team. They're trying to qualify for next week's Division II NCAA championships. You know, he's been there 17 years. Seems like yesterday he was caddying for me. And speaking of Stanley, he played a big part in getting Matt the job over there at SNU. Think he had any pull over there? So Stanley, for that next time we play, instead of 3 aside, we'll double it, you get 6. Don't tell him that, they'll have something to say about it. Oh, where am I? So, it was those childhood friendships, the Central High experience, that played a big part of why I'm standing up here tonight. And to all those who guided me, encouraged me, kicked me in the butt when I needed it, which were plenty of times. I can't thank you all enough. Okay, I'm not a great speaker, but whatever. Where is it? Okay, I'm humbled, I'm honored. This is an award I'll cherish for the rest of my life. One more thing, those 4-foot putts, they're still way easier than standing in front of everybody. Thank you very much.
Many of you know, or some of you may not know, that Central has more Class L basketball championships than any other high school. But we certainly have a young lady tonight who not only championed basketball at Central, but went on to win a Division II national championship at Bentley. It is my honor to induct into the 2026 Central Hall of Fame, Christiana McCullis.
I'm not quite sure how you follow up after those two, but I'd like to start by extending my deepest appreciation to the Central Hall of Fame Committee for choosing me to be part of this outstanding class of inductees. I'm incredibly humbled and honored to be standing before you tonight accepting this award, and congrats to all of my fellow inductees. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but when you come from a family of Greek immigrants, it actually could take up to 3 villages. Plus countless extended family members and friends. In fact, after the initial shock of finding out I was nominated for this Hall of Fame class, my first thought was, where are they going to fit my entire family for the induction ceremony? A heartfelt thank you to all of you for being here to support us tonight, and a huge thank you to the Puritan Back Room and all the organizers for hosting such an amazing event. Give them a round of applause, please. My roots run deep, both here in the city of Manchester and at Central High School. Every member of my family that grew up here attended Central. So even though I started in private school, there was not an ounce of doubt that I'd spend my high school years as a little green. I'm so incredibly proud to say that I grew up in Manchester and that I attended Central High School. Every time I talk about it, I really can't stop. Our principal at Central, John Riss, used to say, the best kids are Central kids. And I'm sorry to all of you that went to any other high school in the whole entire country, but he was right. From the outside, it appears I am here tonight because of the accomplishments I achieved at Central and beyond. But to me, I'm here because of all the people who supported me and carried me through my time at Central. Teachers who are gone but never ever forgotten, like Jay Dufour, Abby Jem, and Don Tibbetts. May they rest in peace. And others like Sharon Wilson, Trish Ellis, Chrissy Allen, Miss Nakash Hoff, Peter Lally. I didn't know you were all gonna be here tonight. This is pretty cool. Some of you are here tonight, which is amazing. Coaches like Mike Wenners, Kelly Fox, Doug Chandler, and Kim Barbie. Admins such as Jane Clayton, John Rist, and Joe O'Neill. And all of the other educators who saw more in us than we could see in ourselves at the time. Champions for their students and athletes in every sense of the word. Their impacts in our community will be felt for years to come. To start my personal thank yous, I'd like to recognize a few family members who are no longer with us, and I'm proud to say that many of you probably knew them too. My grandparents, Dmitri and Vasiliki Bakolis, who showed me that the most important thing in life is family, that through hard work and being kind to everyone you meet, you can achieve your dreams, and to always eat good food. My Aunt Rika and Uncle Larry Kalampolikis, who missed all of 3 games in my 8-year high school and college careers, and who were truly my biggest fans. And lastly, if you were here tonight with us, Jim McQueenie would probably have been the very first person to buy a ticket to this event. He was my middle school soccer and basketball coach who became family, and he was a champion for my success and happiness. I would not be up here if I hadn't had the support, love, and guidance of these people. To my grandparents, Chris and Marika Spiro, my aunts and uncles and cousins in the Kalampolikis and Gassis families, and the countless aunts, uncles, and cousins who are both related by blood and related by love. You have shaped me into the person I am today. You've shown up for me in every way, in every stage of my life. without condition or hesitation, and I'll never be able to express my gratitude to you all, but I hope you have felt my appreciation over the last 3 decades. I have to give a very special shout out and thank you, yes, that is written in all caps on my sheet, to my Uncle Stan Spiro. I joked earlier that even though he's not here, he'll probably be named more than all of the inductees somehow tonight. But that's just who he is. I know he'd want to be here, but he's doing what he does best, supporting and being there for his family in the biggest moments of their lives. Through Stan, you've been a guiding light for me since day one. You always reminded me to work my butt off, to be humble and gracious and make those around me better. You prioritized being a great teammate over winning and always kept perspective when it came to basketball and life. You've inspired me in so many ways as an athlete, as a coach, and as a person, and I stand here today as an NCAA Division II national champion, a public high school teacher, and a college basketball coach because you helped me choose the path that was right for me. That path led me to Bentley University, where I grew, developed, was challenged, got knocked down, came back stronger, had some incredible wins and some devastating losses, all culminating in my wildest dream coming true, an undefeated 35-0 senior season, ending my career by winning the 2014 NCAA National Championship. Thank you. I cannot give enough appreciation and thanks to my coaches, Barbara Stevens, C. White, and Dan Hunt. Their trust and guidance was invaluable, and after 12 years, I can proudly say I'm still taking after my Uncle Stan as a passionate and animated coach on the sidelines. Throughout it all, my constants have been my mom, Savi, my dad, Arthur, and my brother, Dimitri. The best. G, you have been my best friend and hype man since the very day I was born. To know me is to know my brother. I play basketball because I wanted to follow in your footsteps, and to this day I continue to look up to you in every way. I've literally and figuratively walked on your shoulders and followed your lead, and it always led me in the right direction. Thank you for your wholehearted and absolute love and support. Mom and Dad, there is no beginning and no end to expressing my gratitude to you. You model generosity, humility, kindness, service to others, faith, citizenship, fairness, commitment, and respect every single day. You've lifted me up while also keeping me grounded. Your sacrifices, your guidance, and the love that you surrounded Dimitri and I with has led me to become the person I am today. I'm so proud to be your daughter, and I'll never be able to thank you enough. And I'll finish on this note. Public education is in a crisis right now. Truthfully, this was not something I considered or even thought about before getting into the profession of teaching. Now, the dangers that teachers and students face every day are not only real, they are growing. Lack of funding, lack of job security, and lack of actual physical security are just a few. Take a moment and let that sink in. I urge you to go back to the town or city you live in and educate yourself on your local and state governance. Find out what process is used to allocate funding. Support your teachers, support your schools, and support public education. You may not be doing it for yourself. You may not even be doing it for your own kids. But do it for the teachers who deserve to earn a livable wage, the teachers that change the lives of students every single day. And do it for all the kids who may not be able to advocate for themselves, who need your support. The students who might become future Hall of Famers themselves. They are worth fighting for. Thank you so very much. Enjoy the evening, everybody.
So I have the great good privilege now to introduce a few more of my former students who are most worthy of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Their bios are in our booklet. I'm not going to repeat all the outstanding accomplishments each of them has, but rather I'd like to give you a little bit of a look into their classroom persona. I will start with Tara Murphy Beardsley. When she entered 506, AP World Lit, quiet, shy, sat in the back of the room, on the left, fourth seat down, not saying much of anything. She did, about halfway through the year, write an amazing paper based on Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. I'm not sure if you remember, but I do. She worked on a theme of reason versus passion. And really, it was an amazing thesis and well documented. I think that was a pivot for her because she has spent her life, I think, and thus far only because there's more to come, straddling that balance. It's quite obvious, as I said, if you read her bio, that she is passionate about education, passionate about teaching. But I think she's also very aware that passion alone and clanging cymbals and marching in the streets and holding picket signs are not the only way to convince people that public education matters. So what has she done? She ran for election to school board, where she was able to harness her passion reasonably and accomplish far more than with just shouting. And who knows, the school board may not be the end. Someone has said perhaps mayor. And so, please, for her accomplishments then, now, and ongoing, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce to you our next inductee into the Hall of Fame, Tara Murphy, PhD.
So I was not an English student per se. I was a science and math student until senior year, when Selma opened my eyes to my potential, which was limited, but she was very kind. My mom told me to start with this story, following up with basketball. I was also a state champ on the bench. But JV basketball, my freshman year, the only varsity letter I did not get in all 12 seasons, which nearly wrecked me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I really wanted to prove that I was working hard, I was hustling. After halftime, I didn't realize you had to switch the tip, and someone was passing the ball to me, and I thought I was stealing the ball. So I proceeded to steal and go to the other basket and actually get a layup in, which was a 1 in 10 chance usually for me, and I got it. Referees stopped, they're like, wow, what do we do? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, that's for the other team. I was like, right, but it's a basket. They're like, for the other team. So, in all, I was working hard. You make mistakes, you get back from them. I was a good athlete, but I'd say that basketball was not my strongest sport. Central is someplace that I've gone away from for a long time, but it's in my blood. My grandparents, my mom, my dad, my brother, not my kids, not my brother's kids, but Central is in our in our family, and it was not a question of where I'd go. Central High School was where I was gonna go. I wouldn't be here without my mom and dad, truly. My dad, as most of you know, is very into sports. And I was not a girl per se, I was an athlete. And looking back, it was a post-Title IX generation, and I truly thank him for always putting me in every sport. On the boys baseball team, on the soccer team, on the, anything I could go into. He wanted me to compete and to be at the best level, but it was also about education. Education was number one. My mom, on the other hand, was the one that picked up all the pieces after there was a bad game or I get a bad grade, or she truly saw who I was and wrapped me in love and helped me try to accept myself for the good and the bad. And for those two things, I feel like I was really bolstered to do well in all the endeavors I have. At Central, I learned a few things that really carried me through college and into education. The first was connection. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I tell all my students, I'm 8th grade right now, yes, God bless me, I'm a middle school teacher. I tell them, when you get to high school, join something, do something. I don't care if it's a band, if it's track, if it's volleyball. Find your people, right? Find your niche, find where you fit in and where you feel supported. And that's what I did when I got to Central. And I really feel like I look back and I think of all the teammates I had, all the coaches and educators I had, and they saw me as an athlete, as a student, but they really saw who I was. And I think that's what really got me to, I was never gonna be a teacher, never. I am now a teacher. I feel like Selma in particular, there's a few teachers here, I could talk about many of them, but it's the teachers that truly saw me and saw my potential and like knew who I was, if that makes sense. They knew Joel Sugarman. He used to photocopy the clips from, I used to photocopy the clips from the basketball score in the Union Leader. I was a defensive specialist. I was not a big scorer. So he would be like, Murphy, 4 points. And he would show it in the front of the class. And it was funny, great, and it was like, but he cared, like he made you feel like you were, I don't know, like he just knew who you were, and he knew how to like get to the essence of who you are and like push you. Mr. Cavadas is here. The reason I went into science teaching, honestly, I was never gonna do it. He let us dissect live frogs. I mean, it was great. And then Mr. O'Neill, who was not my teacher, but for all intents and purposes was my counselor at school. I played a lot of sports. Probably my best sport was softball. And I tried middle school track, and all of a sudden I had a meeting with the O'Neills, and freshman year I was a track athlete, not a softball player. So they said, do you want to play on a losing team, or do you want to like be successful? Yeah, I want to be successful. But in that, I truly learned how to work hard, right? I became a thrower because I couldn't handle the running that he gave us. But I would say that he was someone I would go to for anything. That upper floor dungeon that he lived in was like where I would go and just air it all out. And I would get back empathy, I would get back a kick in the ass, I would get back, just like real. He knew how to balance like the tough with the positive. And it really helped me in life, and it's helped me as a teacher, honestly. I'm also this for my students now. I would not be who I am now without what I saw from my teachers. So are my students all going to remember what photosynthesis is when they look back in 5 years? No. But what they will remember is that Miss Murphy loves them and can see who they are and knows what they love and what they care about. And I feel like as a student, as my son once said, it's very obvious what teachers are there for the paycheck and what teachers are not. And I don't think he knew the paycheck was like, yeah. And so I'm not sure anyone really goes into teaching for the paycheck, but I think I understand what he's saying. He knows the teachers that care and the teachers that are just there. So the other thing is hard work and failure, which I think a lot of kids struggle with, and I think I struggle with a lot. Basketball. I was not the best player. I was probably the worst freshman that tried out. But by the end of my senior year, I was the captain and only senior still playing. And that was a testament to what I learned as a kid, which was working hard. I was also asked to do winter track when I didn't make the basketball team. but I think that it just is a testament to working hard and like getting cut and then coming back and working. And honestly, I tell people all the time, if you really want something, keep at it. Keep at it, get the feedback you need. So I have changed a lot. I played, softball, then I played the track, and then in college I decided to play lacrosse. Picked it up, loved it. I'm glad I was able to play many sports and just get friendships and connection with people. And yeah, that's sort of, and then lastly, just the pushing through challenges. I find that a lot of my students, and this is not to their discredit, but I think I was with Selma, the same thing happened. I really felt like I wasn't a good English teacher. I didn't have that growth mindset. And you need that one person to sort of help you when you fall down and get back up and say, okay, I failed, but I need to try again. And I think in life, we all need to, the best stories we think of, or me, the most memorable things I think about are the things that I failed and then I didn't quit, I just kept going. And I think, yeah, that's a testament to something I learned at Central, because I started at the bottom of my class. I think it was like 385th or something, and I ended up in the top 15 of my class. So I worked and I worked and I worked with the help of the teachers. And all I would say is that Central was and always will be where I learned how to be an adult and succeed in this ever-changing world, and I would never change it for anything.
I think what she should have said is that, I told you maybe your teacher up here isn't the rest, but anyway, she thinks she was at the bottom of the class, but what she didn't say is she got into Cornell and ended up at Bowdoin, and I don't think you can be 365 in a class and do that, so, okay. The next inductee is Burton Kaliski. I had Burton in class, again, very quiet, although he sat in the front, to the right, first seat. And you are going to read his bio, which is simply outstanding. It's like over the top, in the clouds, literally and figuratively. His many outstanding accomplishments have helped humanity so much. And his philanthropy as well balances, again, that two-part of what we consider a good life. And I would cite another example from the classroom as well. It was a mythology class, and Burton excelled. I used to vary the various assessment purposes, all the buzzwords that we teachers have to go through every now and again. And so towards the end of the semester, we had more of a hands-on or creative arts project. Burton did a creative myth, his own, but he had a friend who was struggling with what to do. And I saw Burton work with him, and ultimately, the young man, with Burton's help, created a Trojan horse. And I'm sure you remember the story with, the soldiers inside. And he actually put soldiers inside who, once you turned a knob, actually came down. So this young man, I think, owes a great deal to Burton. I'm not sure if you remember this, but I can even share his name with you later. But that's what he did. He always did. The kindness, the human connection, the helping others to succeed. For that and so much more, Burton Kaliski is our next inductee into the Hall of Fame. He was also very interested in the Hubble at the time, and I think that also foretold what he would do with his life.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this honor, and to be included with all of you and your accomplishments and your devotion to your high school alma mater, my high school alma mater. It's funny that you remember where I sat in the class. I have no recollection of that. But I do remember that I wasn't the person sitting in the back of the class not paying any attention at all. Because the most prominent memory I have of being someplace in class was when I was in science class, in chemistry, and I figured out that if you rerouted the cables, you could get gas to bubble up in the sink and then light it on fire. Looking at the 3 R's, I realized that was not responsible, it was not respectful, but it was rigorous. I was trying to figure out how to make sense of things in high school, I think as we all are at that time of life. And I found in different classes, some things came more easily to me, some things didn't make sense at all. I had excellent teachers who helped me all the way through. One of the things that Central did that was central, if you will, to my entire career is pulling me out of the math class when I started to be a little bit annoying by answering everything before everybody else, and said, it's time for you to learn about computers. About computers. This was 1979 to 1980 timeframe. There was a class teaching people how the programming language BASIC. Some of you may have done that before. There was this small room in the classical building overlooking the courtyard that had been converted into the computer room. And in the computer room, there was a Digital Equipment Corporation PDP 1170, a VT100 screen, and a line printer in the room, and I don't remember there being any manuals. So I figured out, working every day after school, going into that room, how to program this thing. And when I got into MIT, I went to the MIT Engineering Library on my tour there and found they had a manual. And I made a copy of the manual and came back and figured out how to program the screen, and I wrote a computer chess program. And the rest of that is the history of how I got into the technology industry and how much things have changed over 45 years. I think that's the foresight that Central had in several ways. One, Central having a computer lab. I don't know how that came about. If someone knows that story, tell me about that. What an amazing thing to do at that point in history, when the computer revolution is just coming in the late 1970s, to have a computer lab in the high school. And I imagine counterparts to that today with all kinds of technologies. Secondly, to give me the opportunity to go in and use the computer, to encourage that, to show me how to do that. I particularly appreciated the late Omar Chicoine, Mr. Chicoine, and the kind of leadership he showed. I'll give one more example. There was one time I got a little bit enthusiastic about the computer, and let's say I started moving up and down all over the floor. Mr. Chicoine sent me to detention that day. I want you to use the computer, but not like this. And that never happened again. And then thirdly, the advanced placement classes, the curriculum there was outstanding, so much so that when I did go to MIT, covered so many of my freshman year requirements on the basis of what I had learned at Central, which then got me moving further along. You can read about the rest of it that happened there. I think to some extent I was a little troublemaker for some of these classes, if I am lighting sinks on fire and so forth. But you didn't manage me, Central did not manage me as a troublemaker. I was not a troublemaker to manage. What was I was a teenager, as we all were at that time. I was a teenager to mentor. And thank you for figuring out the way to mentor me, the path that I could follow, being part of a family that had moved to Manchester, New Hampshire in 1975. My late parents, Bert Sr. and Janice, were educators. They had so many events in this room. They would be so proud to be here today, and I miss them. I know they are with us in spirit. My siblings all graduated from Central High School. John is here with us today. John, I think, knows everybody in this room. Kristen and Karen and Michael all graduated. Illustrious careers for all of theirs. My wife, Michelle, who has influenced basically everything in my life after Central. Everything else. So thank you, Michelle, for all of that. So thank you very much for this recognition. Congratulations to my peers and colleagues, and looking forward to serving the world together with all that we've learned here. Thank you.
I hope those of you who have not gone to Central are getting a sense of what Central is. And those of you who have, I hope it's validated for you that the work that you remember is still going on and beautifully. So thank you. I come to one more that I have the pleasure of introducing, James Ten Jr. And I'm sure you know Jim as sort of a gadfly in New Hampshire in so many ways. So I'm going to go way back and share another little story of him and his beginnings. Jim and I share Lebanese blood. And like the Greeks, it's family. It's induction by family. And my cousin Phyllis here, who, by the way, herself is a Central grad and a member of the Hall of Fame. Professor of voice at BU, not BC. Anyway, so what we used to do is Sunday afternoons visit. You would visit the aunts and, the aunts and the uncles. Everyone was just that. And the Tens were new in the community, and so that was a way of their parents sort of integrating and meeting people. So, and I was young, maybe about 10 or so. This is what I remember. This is my first picture of Jim Ten, along with his brother. His parents walk in. It's an outside setting during the summer. And there are these two boys held by leather, the kinds of things that you put on dogs to muzzle them. I kid you not. They were strapped in. And their parents were holding them. And this guy, Jim, could not be contained. He was pushing and running, and Mrs. Ten, a slight woman that she was trying to hold him back. And he would have nothing of it. I remember this distinctly until, I don't know how many years later, I encountered him at Central High School, and wouldn't you know, he's the same Jim Ten. Nothing stops him. If he has to accomplish something, he is focused on that accomplishment. Again, you will read his many accomplishments in the law, in business, in the Central community. The bathrooms, by the way. Before his run as a student council president, the bathrooms were horrible. But he was dogged, making certain that they were state of the art, which even today they're not so bad. Not that I've been in them, but anyway. So, for his perseverance, for his commitment to community, for his commitment to the law, for his commitment especially to Central High School, where his two daughters continue to matriculate, one of whom is the valedictorian of this year's class. Again, at a time when, and you're hearing this often, when public education is being assaulted, when people who have means can easily send their children to private schools, he has taken up the central mantle for his children who continue to excel. So for all of these and many more attributes, we are delighted to welcome Jim Ten into the Hall of Fame.
I don't know how much of that was true. Like all the other recipients, I'm humbled to be here tonight, and my thanks to the Central High Hall of Fame Committee. For me, and most of the people at that table, it's been 42 years since we graduated from Central. The class of 1984. We did a lot of good stuff. There's another graduate of the class of 1984 here. He looks a little like me. My twin brother, John, he's at that table. Have him stand up, and I want him to wave to everybody. Stand up, John. And at the table on the left, table 17, our sister Mary. Mary's a graduate of the class of 1987. Hall of Fame. And if you read all that stuff in the booklet about me tonight, one thing you don't know is one of the smartest decisions that John and I ever made together. Here it is. We got Mary to join us in the law firm. So in 1984, minimum wage was $3.35. A gallon of gas was $1.27. Prince released his album Purple Rain. Movie tickets were $2.50 with blockbuster movies such as Ghostbuster, Beverly Hills Cop, and it's taken 42 years for me to be here tonight to quote the Terminator with a little twist, I'm back. All of us in this room tonight, graduates of Manchester Central High School, share a bond. We're part of the Central legacy. And I've been fortunate to serve as a professional in this community, and I bump into graduates from West, Memorial, the Derryfield School, Trinity, and you know what? Central kids got the best swagger. We still do. Central pride. Now you just heard a little bit about computers and the internet and how far we've come. Macintosh issued the first personal computer 1984. And from that, the internet's exploded about computers and technology. And so before I showed up tonight, I did an internet search about Manchester Central High School. And here's what it says. Central offers students a high-quality academic and social experience which is unsurpassed and prepares students well for the rigors of citizenship in America and in the new millennium. What do you think? Now, Selma's going to know the answer to this, but while there's a dispute in the literature about whether the ancient philosopher Plutarch or the Irish poet William Butler Yeats famously wrote this quote, "Education is not the filling of a pail, but it is the lighting of a fire." I find that quote relevant tonight because all the people who are receiving these awards and all the members of the Hall of Fame, and candidly, most of you in this room, have a fire lit by teachers from Central. And for so many of us, those fires continue to burn so brightly. You've heard it, we were taught by legends, and I look in the back of the room. Mr. Cavadas. Much to the chagrin of my father, I'm not a doctor because that frog was too much for me. We were taught by real legends, Selma. I got to tell you a quick story. So for the past few years, I've had the privilege to serve as chair of the board of the Elliott Health System. And Selma previously was the chair of the board, and she came back onto the board. And in one of my meetings, I looked around the room and I said, well, we have a new board member. And it was Selma. And I said, well, this is kind of awkward. I have to introduce the woman for whom I'm really terrified at times, based upon my schooling. But Selma has been a great force for so many of us in the room. Mr. O'Neill, Mrs. Maravoli, Dr. Hussey, Senora Oria, Grace Sullivan, Jane Clayton. The list goes on and on and on. And I look at the back of the room right there, I see Mr. and Mrs. Morgan. I remember Mr. Morgan telling me I wasn't a bad baseball player in North Little League. And for all those years, he's continued to encourage kids like me with confidence and love and support, and that's what Central does, and that's why we're a community. And so, how about a round of applause for all the teachers? I agree, we've had some fantastic administrators, Mr. Burns, our principal, Mr. Blanchard, Mrs. Pellerin, making sure we were on the right track to avoid detention. And sadly, we've lost some heroes. And you've heard the names tonight, Abby Jem, Mr. Day. I think about Mr. Tibbetts. And Mr. Tibbetts, what do all these teachers have in common? It's kind of like what the kids from McDonough School said. The teachers made us feel that we belonged. Central made us feel like we belonged. And what an incredible feeling. For the last 10 years, I've had the opportunity to look at Central through a different lens. It's the lens of those two maniacs over there. Stand up for a minute, everybody. Say hi. This is Catherine, my daughter, and Elizabeth. Catherine's a senior, and Elizabeth's a freshman. They play tennis together, which is unbelievable. And they compete, which is unbelievable. And today, how'd we do against Nashua? Pretty good. Okay. But yesterday, girls tennis beat Memorial at West 9-0. That's a big deal. So because of my kids and because of Mary's kids, Matthew and Michael, over the last decade, I've really had an eye on what's happening at Central. And I wanted to share a story about Mary, but as I look in this room, I better not. And I want to share a story about Mr. Tibbetts. He actually volunteered to drive a busload of us. He didn't drive it, but he was in the bus to the Bruins game. And it got kind of excited that night. I'm going to stop right there, but I think of him always for his volunteerism and for making us eat together. For me at Central, one of the greatest things was student council. I remember we fought for student rights. Selma had it. We staged a walkout to the mayor's office, which was kind of neat. We attended Battle of the Bands, and even one night we had a Jello wrestling event on the gym floor, which leaked. And I remember desperately calling my mother at 11:30 at night, saying, "What do I do now? This is bad." It was bad, but it came up. The floor was okay, and I graduated. Because of our two girls, oh, my wife Cindy's here, and Cindy didn't grow up in Manchester, so for years and years and years, she's heard about Central and the legends of Central and all the stories that we have. But what I never got to do in high school, and thanks to Cindy, now with our two daughters, here's what Cindy and I get to do. We've served pizza and hot dogs at Gill Stadium in support of the girls' field hockey teams, ice hockey teams, and tennis teams. Pretty good. We've served as roadies for the Central Marching Band under the tutelage of Roger Man Mountain Martineau, class of 1984, our roadie leader. We've loaded and transported equipment, and we've had the privilege to walk along the streets of Manchester to the cadence of the Central High School Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Bryan and Miss Lake. So that was pretty cool. And perhaps one of the biggest honors is that this spring season, I have the privilege of serving as the assistant to the coach, Karen LeClaire, which gives me a front row seat to watch those two, and I'm so proud of you and for them. Now, because I went to Central in 1984, the teachers and administrators that I knew and that I loved and that I know have moved on a little bit. But we have the same committed legends at Central today. And so would all the teachers and administrators that work at Central today stand up so we can recognize you for all you do. So on this night, since I'm now a Hall of Famer, Mary, if you'd permit me to make just one request. Here it is. Please continue to do what you can do to show up for Central. Do what you can continue to do to make Central vibrant and thriving. Do what you can continue to do to make the representation on the school website continue to remain accurate that Central will prepare students well. Do what you can do to help Central maintain an academically rigorous educational system so that our kids can compete. Here's some suggestions if you want to know how to do it. Be ambassadors for Central, attend an athletic event, come to Gill Stadium. Some nights we serve hot chocolate, pretty cool. Show up at a Central car wash. Join or participate in one of the many organizations that Central still has that needs all of your support. If you haven't tried your luck, come to a casino night. Members of the Central Pride Committee, they're very humble, but what they do is they work tirelessly to raise money, to give funding that gives students the opportunities to do more than just walk the halls of Central. Central Pride Committees, come on, stand up so we can give you a round of applause. John and I have had a pretty good legal career in Mary, all because of the education that we got at Central. And for those of you who live in Manchester, work in Manchester, practice in Manchester, you bump into people 40 years later that you knew in high school. And also you bump into people that never grew up here, but they work here, and they've heard about Manchester Central. And so people will often say to me, to John, to Mary, "You went to Central?" And we'd say, "Yeah, because we got Central Pride, baby." Because they've heard about Central and they don't really know what, but they didn't have the experience that we all did. So tonight, my conclusion, we must continue to find ways to cultivate options and opportunities and experiences for Central grads and Central students. A Central education must, in the words of the poet, not only fill pails, but continue to light fires so that our graduates can continue to blaze brightly. Thank you for this wonderful award.
All right, we got a few more guys. Woohoo! It is an honor to be inducted with one of my fellow classmates from the class of 1974, Peter Spiro. And what a class we had. Upon graduation from Central, Peter headed west to Colorado State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in natural resources management. After college, he joined the Peace Corps and was assigned to the West African nation of Mali and the role of charcoal maker, which was a critical undertaking in a country that relies on charcoal as a fuel source. He returned to the States to pursue a graduate degree in forestry at the University of Wisconsin. After taking some computer science courses, he decided to earn an additional master's in computer science, setting him on a career path that redefined his life. After a stint at Digital Equipment Corporation, he began a long career at Microsoft, where he held many important and sensitive positions. Deemed one of Microsoft's big brains by Tech Media, Peter came to be regarded as one of the world's foremost experts in database internals. Following his corporate career, Peter has been active in philanthropy and social impact investing. He has served on several boards, most notably as the board chair of World Reader a global tech nonprofit decorated to increasing literacy worldwide by supporting parents and caregivers with free and accessible digital tools and resources. Peter is one of the most humble guys you are ever going to meet. His true passions are his family, traveling the world, and continuing to coach and mentor individuals in both for-profit and not-for-profit organizations. Peter joins his uncle, George Spiro, the class of 45, Hall of Fame of 2011, in the Hall of Fame. Receiving this award on his behalf is his amazing sister, because Peter's traveling somewhere, which we love, his amazing sister, Diane LaRoche. Come on up.
Thank you, Jane. Peter wrote a speech for me to deliver. So my cousin Andy Statiris told me, keep it under 5 minutes. Perfect. So Peter wrote, first off, sorry I couldn't be here today. We had a trip planned that we couldn't cancel. Thanks to my sister Diane for accepting on my behalf. His older sister, the oldest. Now you may be thinking, what the heck did this guy do? Seems like a regular software guy. And I'm quoting Peter now. He said, I was a regular software guy, but serendipity is a wonderful thing. With great timing, initiative, grit, and luck, I got the opportunity to lead Microsoft's database development and become a technical fellow, which is generally the highest position for software engineers across the industry. And after Microsoft, I've been working on global literacy with World Reader and other social impact endeavors for the last 15 years. So the question is, how did this happen? I was lucky because I grew up in Manchester in the 60s and 70s, just a few blocks from Central High School at Hanover and Maple Streets, right in the heart of the model city. Most of us were generally poor, or at least not rich. As kids, we had no extracurricular classes, no internet, no cell phones, and no helicopter parenting. We had the Y and the boys club. After school and in the summer, we just hung out. We weren't neglected per se, it was just expected that we could and would take care of ourselves. We had a lot of freedom, which allowed us to make lots of choices. Some good, some definitely bad. This allowed us to develop instincts, self-sufficiency, humility, and grit. Central also played a key role. The teachers, the classes, the sports, the social life. Again, it was an environment that was egalitarian. You had to make your own way. What you got out of it depended on how much you put into it. And yes, it would have been better if I didn't skip so many classes. Once Mr. Quinn told my father at the Goldenrod that he wasn't seeing me in class too often. That didn't go over too well. After college, I was in the Peace Corps in Mali, West Africa, where I worked as a charcoal maker. At that time, Mali was one of the poorest countries in the world. Nothing was easy. You were on your own. You had to persevere, kind of like Manchester. After the Peace Corps, I ended up in Madison, Wisconsin. I talked my way into grad school because my undergrad grades were so bad. Again, shouldn't have skipped so many classes. So I started out on probation, but finished with a master's in forestry and a master's in computer science. I worked on database systems at Digital Equipment Corporation for 9 years, and then Microsoft came calling as they wanted to step into the enterprise space and build their own database system. Now you need to understand, no one builds a database system by themselves. There are millions of lines of code. It takes teamwork. You need to be able to work with lots of different personalities. There are competing teams. It's long and grueling.
It's super stressful as bugs could shut down factories, banks, airlines, etc. The team grew to 2,000 engineers, and I had Bill Gates breathing down my neck. It was intense, but a fantastic learning opportunity. Frankly, it wasn't as intense as Nick or George Spiro at the Goldenrod blasting you for burning the last order of French fries at the end of the night. Oh, thank you. Must have been thinking about those French fries. Everything I experienced and learned growing up in Manchester, at Central, at the Goldenrod, and the Peace Corps, that's what made the difference. Sure, I needed the technical chops, but it was the leadership skills that grew from my upbringing and experiences prior to starting my technical career that was the differentiator in my career. Better to be lucky than good, but you make your own luck. So first I have to thank my wife, April. My mother used to say, Peter would have been nothing without April. My sister and I don't know if we agree with that. And thanks to my family, cousins, friends, and of course Central High School in Manchester. And finally, it's an honor to be standing alongside my Uncle George in the Central Hall of Fame. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to introduce this next recipient, who I happen to know fairly well as well. A 1973 graduate of Central High School. Let me tell you a little bit about Mark Willett. In high school, basketball was Mark's passion. Mark and his teammates took Central to 3 consecutive Class L tournaments, I believe all the way to the finals each year. And he secured a spot on the all-tournament team in 1973. His talent and success on the basketball court earned him a full athletic scholarship to New Hampshire College, which later became Southern New Hampshire University, as we all know, SNU. At New Hampshire College, Mark captained the men's basketball team, served as a member of student government, and became vice president of the Alumni Association after graduation. He played in 97 career games, scored 899 points, and collected 210 rebounds. Mark graduated as the program's 8th all-time leading scorer. In 1977, he became a first-generation college graduate when he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Business and Economics. Mark's time at Central and NHC laid the foundation for his success in his professional life. In 1977, Mark started a 32-year career with IBM, eventually retiring as the Global Vice President for Business Partners. After retiring from IBM, Mark joined CA Technologies as Senior Vice President of Global Operations. And finally, Mark joined Pitney Bowes in 2013 as Senior Vice President of Global Sales Operations, retiring in 2021. Quite a career. Mark served on the SNU Board of Trustees from 1996 to 2022 and was a board chairman from 2013 to 2022. He is a generous donor to SNU, creating a sponsored scholarship in honor of his parents, a fund that has supported 22 students to date. He's donated and dedicated several SNU campus rooms in honor of his father, his wife, Lisa, his children, and grandchildren. In 2011, Mark received the SNU Alumni Hall of Fame Award, and in 2022, SNU renamed the Penman Athletic Stadium the Mark A. Willett stadium in his honor. I mean, really, Mark, an entire field? So, Mark Willett, come on down.
Well, you guys are hung in there very well tonight. I'm going to be very quick. I know it's warm in here. I told my son it was going to be 4 minutes. He told me to do it in 3. So first of all, thank you. Many of you don't know this. Jane and I dated when we were in high school. I like to... And for those of you that know Jane, especially this side of the room, you'll understand what I'm about to say. I think she and I dated for 5 years, but I actually only saw her for 3. First of all, let me just wish every mom in here a happy Mother's Day weekend. The truth is, none of us would be here without you. Congratulations to each one of my fellow inductees. Obviously, we proudly joined so many before us who have made significant contributions to the legacy and rich history that is Central High School. Well, I got to tell you, now I know what it takes to get some family and friends together in one place at the same time for a fun night. Evidently, you have to be inducted into a Hall of Fame and have dinner and drinks. I'm deeply humbled and honored to be selected, especially since it means that after 53 years, all of my detention slips have finally been forgiven. However, sadly, I must confess to Mr. Chicoine, God bless him wherever he is, that another day has passed and I haven't used algebra once. When I was in high school, we lived on the corner of Valley and Pine Street. For those of you that are familiar with the area, you know Valley and Pine Street. Right across the street from Valley Street, there's a set of railroad tracks. And so if anybody that you know the area, you know where that is. Well, my coaches and teachers would constantly remind me that if I had lived just beyond those railroad tracks, you know what would have happened? Yeah, I would have had to go to Memorial. My God. So needless to say, I spent the next 4 years of my high school career ensuring that I was never caught on the wrong side of the tracks. I want to thank the nominating committee for their consideration, my nephew Sam Theo, family historian and author, who was instrumental in support of my nomination. I can plug his book tonight if you want. With support from his cousin, my son Jesse, who must have dug deep into the historical archives. Well, this is full circle for me. This is home. Central is home. These are my roots. And this evening means a great deal to me because I get to share it with the people that I care most about. But you know what? Tonight's not about me. None of us achieve anything of consequence in this life alone. This is about my family and my friends, the teachers, coaches, staff, teammates, classmates, and administrators that are the primary reason that I'm here. My parents who loved and supported me, the fact that I have been blessed with lifelong friends, some of which are here tonight, all, by the way, Little Green alumni. From the time I can remember, yeah, absolutely. From the time I can remember, every day growing up, from dawn to dark, we would play whatever sport there was in season. At Sheraton Emmett Park, the JFK Coliseum, in the Creamland parking lot, in the back alley of the Creamland parking lot, and yes, touch football in the valley of the Valley Street Cemetery. The best man at my wedding and dear friend for over half a century, by the way, it sounds a lot older when you say half a century, Steve Griswack, who checked in on me by phone every day for over 3 years when I became sick. They are all Hall of Famers in my book. My classmates, who after half a century still get together often to check in and maintain the bond that was created over a half a century ago. My wife Lisa, also a Central alumni, my sister-in-law Kate, my daughter Shannon, and my son Jesse, daughter-in-law Nicole, and my beautiful and smart granddaughters Elena and Maya. Who I love with all my heart. Tonight is because of you. Nostalgically for me, however, tonight is also about the bonfires before a big football game against Memorial or Haverhill, the 7,000 people that would regularly fill Gill Stadium on a Friday night or a Thanksgiving Day game, the packed Central Gym every Tuesday and Friday night for an intra-city basketball game or a match against Nashua or Portsmouth. And oh, those Class L tournaments in Durham. Central was annually one of the best basketball teams in the state, appearing in 5 Class L finals during the decade of the 70s, 4 of them consecutively from 1970 to 1974, and winning over 83% of their games. It's people that make institutions great. So tonight is about people like Principal Bill Burns and Coach Ed Wade, true teachers and leaders, both leaving a legacy of guiding and molding young men and women, both deeply missed, as are so many others. It's where I learned responsibility, teamwork, leadership, and perseverance. Tonight is for all the teachers and the classmates, the teammates that are bonded together for life in green and white. Ours is a rich history, comprised of tremendous pride and people, which is what makes Central High School so uniquely special. I consider myself privileged to have worn the green and white and to have been a small part of this great tradition. Thank you very much.
Robert Champagne, class of 1984, praised by the union leader as a mentor and an auxiliary father to countless youth and families through his work as the director of Manchester's Salvation Army Community Center, a lifeline for many Queen City families. On behalf of Bob, I will read a few of the many accolades bestowed upon Bob and the work he did for the children and families in Manchester. He and his daughter Chantel and I collaborated on this piece. Bob started Kids Cafe 34 years ago with 50 families. Now he serves thousands in the community with the Kids Caf. The Kids Caf is open 4 nights a week for 48 weeks out of the year. Bob has created many programs that have enhanced the lives of our struggling families. Some of his programs consist of the warm clothing program at JCPenney, Toy Shop at the Doubletree, and summer programs where kids get to experience fun activities such as water country, Canopy Lake, York Zoo, and the Hilltop Fun Center. He works with community partners such as the Manchester Police and Fire Department. SNU and St. Anselm College have a cohort program where where the sports teams come once a week to interact and engage with the children. The infamous dodgeball games after dinner where the college kids and the kids from Kids Cafe are recalled for years to come. Bob went to Central, and he has been with his wife Deb since they were 16. They both turned 60 this year. They've been married for 39 years. He has 2 daughters, Chantel, who was inspired by her dad's passion for inner city youth, which led her to be a teacher for 13 years before transitioning to an assistant principal position at McLaughlin Middle School. And Bob's other daughter, Cassandra, is a paramedic working at Convenient MD. A life of service to others is the calling of the entire Champagne family. He has 2 grandchildren, Julian, age 14, and Adeline, age 5. Before he retired in April, he was serving second-generation kids at the Kids Caf. His prior Kids Caf students came back to visit him on many, and many of them speak of him saving their lives from the streets and being a father figure that they cherish deeply. Bob is a pillar in our community, helping families acclimate to a new country and helping them get connected to services while providing their children with a safe place to eat and enjoy being a kid living in a community that truly cares about its residents. Bob received the Others Award given by the Salvation Army in 2024. It is one of the highest honors presented to an individual that exhibit an extraordinary spirit of service, selflessness, and community dedication. I've had the pleasure of knowing Bob from the Kids Cafe and him being on the front lines of all things for his grandchildren. He is always giving of his time, his talent, and his heart, not only to his own family, but every family in need. Thank you, Bob, for feeding the bellies of the children in Manchester with warm, nutritious meals night after night. But moreover, thank you for feeding their souls with love and patience and hope when many had none. Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you, Charlene. First of all, I want to say thank you for the committee for nominating me for this. It's quite an honor. I'm usually very long-winded. I could sit up here and speak for a long time, but my health is not doing so well right now, so I can't talk a lot. Get short-winded, so that's to your benefit. I do have, my grandson is going to Central next year as a freshman. And I'm sure my granddaughter will too when she's that age. I do want to thank the Morgans, always being supportive of me. Bonnie was my guidance counselor throughout my years at Central, and she's been always amazing, encouraging. Joe's been encouraging. And I thank everybody in the Central community. Thank you and have a good night.